West Tigers fans, Talon Silva's gone, but we're still here. There's another game to review, another game to preview. Forever West Tigers. Join us for more therapy for our beloved team on another episode of West Tigers Life. Good evening, West Tigers fans. Welcome in to another episode of the West Tigers Life. I'm your host, Josh Barnett. Give us a follow at West Tigers Life. We are so close on the YouTube to getting to our goal of, let me just check that actually before. We are so close to getting to our 2005 goal. We are at 1967 at the moment. So we're almost approaching, we're past Roberto's year of birth. There we go. That's how far ahead we are on the YouTube. Maybe we'll get to the 80s and 90s for Az and I as this episode goes out to the airwaves. But give us a follow on TikTok. Roberto, you're a star on the TikTok this week with Coach Adele. So check out TikTok at West Tigers Life, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, X. No OnlyFans yet. Still working on that one. But speaking of OnlyFans, we are recording from home tonight, not at our beloved Orange Grove Hotel. So apologies to the Orange Grove Hotel and all of our regulars that normally listen to us live in the flesh at the OG. But both Az and I, since Friday night, have come down with, look, it's the West Tigers' luck at the moment. They're not well. Jerome Luai went to hospital. Az and I, not quite hospital, but stats man, I'm on the back end of mine, but you're a little bit sniffly and a little bit blocked up. So good that, Roberto, we'll stay away from Roberto and keep him nice and fresh and ready to go.
Yeah, g'day Josh, g'day Rob, g'day everyone watching and listening. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're on the mend a little bit, and I still seem to be in the deep end of mine. Just got hit by a massive flu. 3-4 days ago now? I forget what day it was, but yeah, it's been a bit of a messy week. So hopefully I'm on the mend shortly and good to go to head back to the Orange Grove by Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Orange Grove, but the game itself, we'll have to see. Mr. Bashara, how are you this evening? Great episode with Adele on Sunday night. Was a hot one, I will say, with Adele on Sunday, a long one, went for 100 minutes, so it was an epic one as well, but a great episode, lots of good feedback around and lots of good big ratings, big revenue on that one, Roberto. But how are you on a Wednesday evening now?
Yeah, I'm well, guys. G'day everyone out there. It was a really good episode. It's a bit of a juggling act trying to be a host and sort of obviously try and get my own opinions out there occasionally. But I gave Adele a bit of pushback this week, and it was I think it was a pretty interesting episode. There wasn't much airspace in that. We pretty much spoke for the 100 minutes. Chock-a-block full of West Tigers footy. The YouTube numbers are crazy this week. I think it's probably our highest rating episode. So thanks for everyone who listened and enjoyed it. And we'll be back again Sunday night, hopefully to review a victory for a change.
That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice to be able to review a victory. We'll have to see. It would be quite the miracle if we can pull that off. One outlet that can pull off, I won't say that can pull off miracles, but Keen Strata, so partner of the West Tigers Life podcast, they're professional and reliable strata management in New South Wales. If you live in a unit, townhouse, or an apartment block, Keen Strata is all about making sure your building runs smoothly with clear communication and no hidden costs. They are commission-free, exceptional strata management. Their focus is always on what's best for your building and community. Keen Strata is local, independent, and committed to getting things done properly. If you're after a strata management that's upfront, reliable, and easy to work with, get in touch with Keen Strata. You can do that via keenstrata.com.au, or you can give them a call 028515 4080, or email info@keenstrata.com.au. If you don't have a spell strata, it's up there on the screen, Strata. If you're an idiot like me and didn't even know what strata was until you moved into an apartment, and there you go. These guys will look after you, and also West Tigers fans. So do support them and tell them we sent you. Righto, let's get into topic number one. TDS, he is off to the Parramatta Eels. Obviously, Roberto, you've already talked a little bit about this with Adele on Sunday night, but I guess, yeah, we can have at it again. So he's officially gone to the Parramatta Eels. A story did pop up just before we went on the air. So SMH did report that was a few quotes from TDS, and to be honest, by all reports, Rob, it seems like a pretty mutual thing that the club kind of didn't want to stand in the way of him getting a starting position. It's an odd one, and a lot of West Tigers fans out there are angry that it's happened. Richo normally will come out and kind of explain what's going on. He hasn't yet. Maybe he will as the week goes on. But yeah, another young up-and-comer let go early. Obviously, mates with Galvin as well. So lots of people speculating on that it could have been this, could have been that. But by all reports, Mario Tartak, his manager, and Talon have been pretty upfront with it all. From what I can tell, as my best guess is, and it's hard for people to get their head around letting someone go mid-season, especially when we're only, 4 points out of the top 8. But from what I can tell, what Richo's trying to do here, he's trying to scrape up as much salary cap as he can from this year and use that salary cap to pay forward players incoming. So if that means Apicor, and that's why I think Api Coruscant hasn't. This is all pure estimate, pure guess, no substance or research put into this. But if I was to have a guess that Api Coruscant hasn't been signed, and I think a lot of people are worried, what if Api doesn't sign? I think the whole working out these contracts and getting past June 30, working out how much money is left in the cap for this year, how much can we pay forward Api and the likes now, meaning that towards the back end of his contract, it's not going to hurt it as much. Obviously, this year, we're not going to get any more signings. We couldn't get KPP early. June 30 is done, so nothing else can really happen other than upgrade people outside the top 30, which they have done. So they will be on base wages less than what Talon de Silva would have been on. So a bit of money in the cap, you can give it to Api now. So rather than paying Api, I've thrown a number out there, 700 grand in a couple of years' time, might be only paying him 500 grand because he took 200 grand from this year's cap. This is all just numbers, up in the air numbers. It could be way off the mark, but all hypothetical. That's my guess. Rob, do you think I'm onto something there, or are you still quite annoyed at the situation?
I've got mixed feelings about the situation, Josh. Obviously, it's salary cap related. They're going to say whatever they can on the salary cap. If from a 2025 perspective, I just don't get it. We're not getting anyone into the club. We never made any significant signing before June the 30th, with the exception of Taylor and May on a train and trial contract. We were going to give Galvin $1 million a year and upgrade his money. So we've got plenty of money. There's, perhaps what you're saying, we're going to front end the situation with some current players. But again, why are you getting rid of a player right now? I've got no problem with him leaving at the end of the year. He can go off to Parramatta or wherever he wants to go after that. I just don't see, are you really trying to save 100 or 150 grand or 200 grand or whatever it may be for the rest of the year and jeopardise, 2025 if, I mean, Appy's already got a HIA. What if he breaks a leg next week or something like that? I don't understand it from that point of view. In terms of the hooking progression at our club, I'm 100% for it. Okay, I truly believe Hayward will be the better hooker of the two. I think he's got a far more all-rounded game than TDS. Talon's a great dummy half runner, like an exceptional dummy half runner. His defence isn't 100%. His ball work from dummy half isn't great. And we saw that on Friday night after a pretty reasonable start early. His passes were going astray everywhere. So I don't think from that point of view, he can demand to say, well, I want to start in 2027 or else. Again, it's just how you feel on the hooker. But more importantly, I just feel like our club's given up on this year. Because if you're letting someone go who you think can add to your 17, and let's face it, he would have been in our 17 this week, and we're letting him go, that to me just smells of giving up on the season, Josh.
Yeah, well, I think giving up on the season, yes, but do you think we're going to win the comp this year?
It's not the point, Josh. We know the ramifications of sponsorship. We know the ramifications of members, whether they want to renew or not. We're only 4 points out of the 8.
Sure.
People are carrying on like, if we come 16th, it's like making the finals and just avoiding the wooden spoon. That's the level of mediocrity we've got at the club now. If we get anywhere from 14th to 16th, a lot of fans are going to be, oh, that's wonderful, we didn't come 17th. To me, you either make the 8 or you failed. I don't care if you come 9th or 17th. But that said, you can't have the stench of 4 wooden spoons in a row and just try and sell sponsorships. And even Richo wants these bigger grounds with corporate sponsors. How do you keep selling corporate sponsorship when your club's failing, you're losing games, and you're letting your best juniors go? And we all know the circumstances of other juniors and why they left, and it might have been taken out of our hands. But, Richo, said when he first took over to win a premiership, and he goes back to his South days and talks about what happened at Penrith. In your 17 that play in a grand final, you've got roughly 8 or 9 juniors coming through. Well, we're letting some of the best ones go. And again, I want to repeat, I think Hayward will be better than Talon De Silva down the track. Right now, he's not, because he's much younger and less experienced. But, you can't be preaching like Richo did, say, 6 months ago, that we're going to build our club around the likes of Galvin and Talon De Silva, and then you just let them walk with nothing in return except roughly $160,000 in financial compensation for Lockie. And again, we don't know if that's because there was legal threats. No one's really come out in the clear with that and been transparent, and we probably never will find out about that. The Talon stuff, again, I'm friends with his manager, and I haven't even bothered ringing him about it because I don't want to jeopardise our friendship in all that. But I said it on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. If Talon De Silva wants that starting spot in 2027, just make sure you're playing better football than Appy Coruscant during 2026. This entitlement that this young generation have, well, I want to be, the starting hooker. It shouldn't work like that. Just prove that you're better, and you'll get that spot, or you'll get more minutes. And right now, and from what he's shown this whole season, he hasn't proven that. He had the chance in round 1 when Tristan Hope and he were the hookers against Newcastle, and they didn't do the job from dummy half that we needed. So, but again, when I come back to 2025, I just find it a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, rude that the club wants us to hang in there and get in the crocodile roll when everyone's crocodiling the fuck out of Concord, and we're just expected to hang on and support the team. And we always will support the team. And look, nothing will ever break me from supporting the West Tigers. Like, I will get the shits, I'll swear and cuss and whatever. The ones that are still supporting the club, we're not going anywhere, okay? But you start thinking, if Richo can't solve this mess, then what's going to happen? And I've been Team Richo from day one, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to, as soon as things go bad, I'm not just going to start bagging management, but I will say I am alarmed with the lack of transparency from Richo in the last 6 to 8 weeks. He did come out and do a 9-minute behind the raw spiel. I'm disappointed that he's going to be on NRL 360 on Monday night, which is another 5 nights away. Yet we're supposed to be the members, that are paying our membership to be part of the club. It's meant to be members first, talking to us first. get on your Behind the Raw podcast, Richo, and talk to us. Don't go via NRL 360. You can doctor all the questions you want and say whatever you need to say. Tell us now, because you've got a fan base that is really hurting. We're really sick of hearing about all the negativity. And he wants to wait till Monday to dish it out on NRL 360. He needs to come out, ASAP and let us know what the hell's going on. We deserve it.
I will say this, and I only just remember this. I got a platinum members function on Friday night, so maybe Richard will be there, and I can get the scoop from him. Maybe
Mate, he knows what to do. He doesn't need prodding. He's preaching a members first stuff. We found out. Okay, I know it probably came out via Talon's management and what have you. We found out Sunday that he signed with Parramatta, and then we get the members thing. I don't know, midway through Monday to say that he's left. Like, it's not a members first situation. Sorry, guys. Where there's just been a lot of inconsistencies the last 6 or 8 weeks that have not been the Shane Richardson that we've seen prior to that, because, everything he's kind of said, he's backed up. But the last 6 weeks, from how I'm perceiving it, Josh, it's a different Shane Richardson. And I don't know if his hands are tied, if something's happened behind the scenes, but I don't believe we're hearing the whole truth. I think this whole thing about Talon leaving amicably and all that, that's a load of shit. I think there is a little bit of a factional thing within the club, and perhaps the fact that, for want of a better term, Talon's up Lachlan Galvin's ass. Okay, there was probably a reason there why he got flicked on. He probably wouldn't have been used Friday night if he didn't need to be. He wasn't used the week before. He sat on the bench for 80 minutes. So I think there's more to it. I don't believe you get rid of someone that can fill a role in first grade. He'd definitely be in our 17 this week. And if you're serious about winning games and you're letting a player go that would have been in your 17, it absolutely makes no sense. So our fans have every right to be upset. And just because we're upset doesn't mean we don't support the club, or we don't support Richo, or we don't want Benji to succeed or anything like that. But fuck, Josh, we've been handcuffed enough as it is, mate. Like 3 wooden spoons. We're battling injuries. We've lost our fullback. We've lost our hooker. We've lost our 5'8" the state of Origin and captain. Come on, man. It's just getting too hard. And you just want to let other people just go. What if Appy broke his leg on Friday night? Would we have let Talon sign with Parramatta for the rest of the year?
Probably not. But it's a HL protocol, so it's one game.
You just don't know, mate. You just don't know. But ultimately,
you don't. But if Appy broke his leg, what would you think our top 8 chances were?
But Josh, you got to put your best team out there.
Yeah, but I'm saying if Appy Coruscant broke his leg, this season's it's pushing towards a write-off already. But mathematically we're using that word already. Well, I'm using that word already.
Josh,
if Appy Coruscant breaks his leg, the year's done. He's our everything. He's our heart and soul. I'm going to stop saying that in case we put it into the universe. But yeah, losing someone like Appy, the season's pretty much done anyway. I get what you're saying, and maybe my having watched American sports, and as you're into your American sports as well, and you get to the point with seasons in those sports where if it's tanking for a draft pick, and obviously we don't have the draft in the NRL, so there's literally no point in throwing away a season. You should be playing right to the end, and I do like that about the rugby league in terms of there is no point of tanking, even though I do think it gets to a stage where players do start putting in 90% efforts. But what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, so I'm kind of the opinion where it seemed like it was a done deal that we were going to be letting him go no matter what. I do find the timing of it a little bit bizarre, considering obviously Appy's HIA has meant he's out for this week, and obviously that being the last game before the June 30 cutoff meant he kind of had to stay or go before it. But yeah, unfortunate that, obviously we've got Tristan Hope, who's probably the forgotten man a little bit in all of this, because he's now basically guaranteed a little bit more game time. He might end up being a 14 for a fair few of our games moving forward after Appy comes back for the remainder of the season. And obviously after this week with Origin behind us and Jerome Luai back, then it's kind of full steam ahead from there. But yeah, it's disappointing to see him go. I thought he was going to be going to Manly. That was what I had been hearing. But I mean, Para kind of makes sense as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a shame for sure. But I mean, I wish him luck. Obviously, not too much luck when he plays against us. But yeah, good for him to potentially get a starting spot. Although maybe not a starting spot this year, considering Riley Smith goes all right.
Yeah, it does kind of suck that the Dogs and Eels are the two teams that we've let these two guys go to. Two of the most hated
Two of our
teams.
biggest rivals. Yeah.
Biggest dead shit teams in the comp, in my opinion. But
that too.
It is what it is. I do wish I said this in the Discord today. It's the same as Simpkin, same as Lids, same as what's the other hooker? There's another hooker we've let go in recent years. But I wish them all the best as well. It's like, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not I love talent, and it was a Sophie's choice really to do we go with him? Do we go with Appy? You can't really go one or the other. And I guess he was under contract next year, but I think we're better off just let him go to what he thinks is greener pastures and get his money and full steam ahead with young Haywood. Haywood's been upgraded to a training trial.
Correct.
Is that what it's called? Training trial.
Yep.
So technically that means he can play first grade at a certain point. Is that right, Az?
Yeah, well, we're past that point anyway. But yeah,
we're past the point. So
all the development and all the trainer trials can play NRL now.
All right, Haywood season it is then. So yeah, it's a tough one. Look, the whole timing. We were talking about timings. I mean, it's June 30. That's the whole timing. We ever do it pre-June 30, and I think it's just the storm of this week. It has to, with like you said, as Luai's out, Appy's got the concussion, Dream's got the hamstring. We're literally, a whole spine is decimated from one way or another. Hopefully, look, Dream. Could we get Dream back by Leichhardt? So we'll have. You don't think we'll have Dream back by Leichhardt?
No, it was a 4 to 6 week thing, mate. It's been a week and a half. I thought it
was 3 to 4.
That's 4 to 6 weeks, they said. So best case scenario, he might play at Leichhardt. But do we want to do what we did with Skelton? He gets busted in round 4, rush him back for round 6, and then we lose him till round 13 because we're desperate to win games. Like Skelton should never have come back 2 weeks after a serious hamstring injury. Again, that's not our fault. You got to ask questions about why we decided to let him play. But I know why we wanted him to play. We're desperate to put our best team on the park to get wins. But you got to make sure that the players rehab properly. The last thing we want to do is rush Jareem back, no matter what. And to use your terminology, which I don't like, if the season's over, why rush him back?
I didn't say the season's over.
Right.
Didn't say the season's over.
Yeah, and just finally on the Appy talenting, I want to be really clear on this. It's absolutely chalk and cheese. Appy is 10,000 times better than Talon De Silva right now. They are not even in the same ballpark as where they are as players. So it's not like a question of who's better or who isn't. It's a question of, do you want to take a risk on someone who's young, who will improve, as opposed to what you've got right now, who's an elite player that can win you a comp in the next 3 years. And that's the difference. And Richo said he wants to win a comp in the next 2 or 3 years. And if you had to pick a hooker out of those two that can win you a comp, it's going to be Appy Coruscant. In my opinion.
100%.
Put your Rob Stradamus hat on. What's Talon's peak? Do you think he plays Origin one day?
No. Look, it's not fair for me to say that. I think in terms of...
It's a podcast. It doesn't matter.
No, he's running from dummy half. He's elite, Josh. We've seen him score 3 tries this year against, in tough circumstances. I mean, one of them was a bit of a fluky bomb that was put up and he kicked it against Cronulla or whoever it was and got the try. But the other 2 were strong dummy half runs. One last week against Manly, and I think one earlier in the year against the Dolphins just before half time. So the guy can move from dummy half, and he nailed one of the best goal kicks I've ever seen from the sideline at Campbelltown as well. So the guy can do some things, but in terms of his passing from dummy half, it's not there yet. In terms of his general play, we saw a really poor kick last week against Manly. It was just a nothing kick. He also did a real nothing kick in our loss against Parramatta, where he just had the ball in general play and kicked it 20 metres diagonally towards the sideline. Like and he'll get better. Like, you can't judge him on the fact that he's 19, but he's not like Robbie Farah or a young Appy Coruscant or anything like that. He's just going to be a really good first grader. Right now, to me, he's too good for New South Wales Cup level, but he's not a first grader yet. But he can certainly fill in 20 to 30 minutes as a backup. And he would, like, we're going to be having probably Charlie Murray, Josh, having to play some minutes on the weekend at hooker. You can't tell me he wouldn't have added to our team. It's not like we had to push him out to make way for 3 purchases that we've made before June 30, and we need to make room. We've got spots galore. We're upgrading players that aren't even ready for first grade, like Hayward, on a train and trial, just to because it's compulsory to fill your 30 spots.
And they're also they're minimum wage.
I just don't get letting him go this year in terms of being a backup. That's all. Like, if you're serious about this year, just let him play the year out. If you're that desperate to save 100,000 on your cap or 200,000 or whatever the numbers are, which I don't know, then we're just got to trust Richo on that. But don't tell me you're serious about 2025 and you're letting players go that are in your top 17. We're all already decimated with our squad as it is right now.
Right, I see a couple of comments. We will get to the Dewey Benji saga in a second. Firstly, just talking about another sponsor, partner of ours, Gym Direct. So if you're looking to increase your fitness and fit out a gym or get some fitness equipment, they do everything from home gyms, full gym fit, commercial gym fit outs. They've got it all. You can get 5% off with the code WTXGD5. There's a link if you go to westtigers.com.au. That's our link where you can find all of our content. There's a big button there you can press, and they'll take you to the landing page. If you're a personal trainer or a coach, you can get it even. You can go up to 10% off with our code. So there's a form on that link that you can fill out if you're a PT. Put your Fitness Australia, you put your Fitness Australia registration or something in there, and you can get 10% off with our code. So they've got a massive end of financial year sale on at the moment. So if you're looking to get some barbells, kettlebells, weight bench, squat rack, cable machine, I don't know, fitness ball, yoga mats, all sorts of good stuff in there. I've bought a lot of stuff from them over the years, and it was especially handy during COVID, getting stuff from them. And yeah, check them out if you're looking. And it's also spring's not too far away, so if you want to get fit for summer, now is the best time to start. Maybe once that cold's gone away, start getting into preseason shape.
Once the knees are fixed up too.
Your knees. Well, you can do upper body. You can always. There's no excuses. No excuses. There are people out there with ACL injuries. You can just be like a Bulldogs fan. Just work your upper body. Don't worry about the legs. just wear Adidas trackies over them. You'll be fine. All right. Our friend Michael Chammas dropped an article today. Roberta, you're chatting with him earlier today. You knew it was coming out. You didn't know exactly what was going to be in it. It was not. What did you make of it, Rob? Because I read it and I was like, okay. A little bit of the coach and Adam got a bit heated. That's basically all I read from it. But yeah, what did you make of it, Rob?
I thought the underlying theme of it, Josh, was that we're a club in trouble and we're a club that isn't sort of backing up the words that we're saying. And I think it's a lot of what I said earlier about talent. I think the first quote he had there was that, you need your juniors to win premierships. And then suddenly, again, there's obviously some extenuating circumstances, but we've let, juniors go with not much in return. And I'll go back further. And, someone had a shot at me tonight on Twitter for mentioning it. We also let go of Onatoni Large, who went to Manly, who was contracted to us for this year. And we let him go early because he realised that we were putting all our eggs in the Galvin basket. And we let him go early without actually securing Galvin for the future. So again, that's probably a mistake as well. But you just can't keep losing your good juniors. And obviously, I think there was sort of a reference there that there's a little bit of a click going on with, certain players and what have you. And I think Michael Chammis's terms are, Benji's got a kind of, he doesn't really know how to differentiate himself as like one of the boys compared to being the coach. And I think there's some merit to that, not so much as him wanting to be a player, but just some of the words and the terms Benji talks about. He's very unique in how he talks about his players. He loves his players, but he'll actually come out openly and say, I love Jerome Luai, I love Appy Coruscant. I don't hear other coaches referring to their players like that, even if they do. I just think it was more a summation of where we're at. And the thing with West Tigers supporters is we all think those articles are just for us. And I know with myself, I like reading articles on all the clubs, and there's 16 other supporter bases out there. So we might all know what's going on with the West Tigers, except obviously for the Adam and Benji stoush. But, there's other clubs that are interested in all this stuff, because we know from all the Galvin drama how huge that rated, whether it was TV, radio, clicks on social media. And it's not just all West Tigers fans. It's obviously other fans that are interested in that stuff. So I don't think he said anything wrong. And he put a lot of opinion based on the facts he knew. And it was just another article. But he actually texted me this morning about my tweet yesterday. And it was actually, I won't mention his name to embarrass him, but one of our members in the Discord actually told us that Michael was coming out with an article. And I told him, I said, are you coming out with some article today? And he basically freaked out as to how I knew about it. And then, we shared some texts, and he told me a little bit about it. And he goes, Rob, it's nothing groundbreaking. But obviously the headline says the inside story. And I think, Josh, no one knows more than you how you try and pump up a headline, especially for our podcasts. Okay, you'll say some things.
Hey.
Hey, no, come on. We're being honest here, man. We're being honest. That's just good media. Like, that's just what you do to say.
Chama says use more Simpsons quotes, maybe.
Well, I'm telling you, Josh, if you'd have said tonight we got breaking news on Galvin, we get another 500 listeners. Or breaking news on Talon De Silva. That's just how it works. So when a journalist says inside scoop, well, you're going to click on it and see. And then when West Tigers go, well, hang on, West Tigers fans go, there's nothing new there. What's that all about? I mean, look, they're going to get plenty of clicks on it. A lot of people are going to read it. There was nothing that wasn't true that was said in that article. If you don't like it, don't read it. I said that yesterday in my tweet. I said the criticism is going to get heavier and heavier over the next fortnight if we lose to the Roosters and the Warriors. So if it really upsets your mental health and stuff like that, just ease up. And if that's how it is. It's just part of being a West Tigers fan the last few years. I think as bad as things are at the moment, I feel like things have been a lot worse over the last 3 years, and we've had much lower lows. But yeah, I just thought what Michael wrote. Look, I should say I like Michael, so maybe I'm not totally objective on this. But again,
I like him too. I think he's the best journalist in rugby league at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. But if you think there was anything there that was incorrect, then come out and say it. But like I said earlier, Richo said that Galvin and TDS were the future of our club, and they've walked out the door. It's kind of saying that, look, we're talking one thing, but we're doing something else. That's basically how I looked at it. And I feel like, there's some internal rumblings going on there that, we don't know about. And like you said at the end of the article, I mean, it just needs a win or two for this noise to go away. But for me, even winning 3 games in a row, it doesn't really detract from our main problems. Our 3 biggest issues, and it's more important than winning games, Josh. It's sorting out our pathways, identifying the players in pathways, like having athletes in pathways. We don't seem to have these, massive athletic forwards like other clubs have. We need to identify talent, get the right people in our pathways. Number 2, we've got to be able to retain them when they look any good. Because like I said on Sunday night, Josh, right now, we're the McDonald's franchise of the NRL. You cut your teeth at West Tigers and you go on elsewhere and you end up having a better career somewhere else. So we've got to make sure we can retain them. And number 3, which might even be the most important thing, although not everyone will agree with me, we need to get that funding for Campbelltown and redevelop Campbelltown so that kids who are 4 and 5 years old, by the time they're 18 in 2043, they're staunch West Tigers supporters and they're getting at least 9 home games at Campbelltown. Not having their season over 2 Fridays ago, and they don't get to see another team in that Macarthur area. So if you want short-term success, yeah, keep buying 4 or 5 players a year, and effectively we're going to be a really bad version of the Roosters. And that's not success. You might have one fluky year where you make the finals or you win a comp, but that's not having sustainability for success in the future. We've seen what Penrith are doing. We see now, I feel like Canterbury are on that path where whatever they do this year, they're going to be competitive for the next 5 or 6 years at least. So, and I don't see that with our club. So we want to have continued success. We don't want a flash in the pan year. We'll take it right now, but we don't want just one flash in the pan year and then go back to dead shit alley for the next 14 years.
Rob, can I ask you to do something? Can you say Benji Marshall 3 times?
Benji Marshall, Benji Marshall, Benji Marshall.
Ah, Coach Adele appeared. How are you this evening, Coach Adele? Thank you for popping in on a Wednesday night.
Well, thank you. I'm actually sitting outside Suncorp Stadium at the moment, so trying to bring that winning energy.
The girls are up in Brisbane they're not playing at Suncorp or that, are they? They're playing at where are girls playing?
Totally Workwear.
Totally Workwear Stadium.
Is that KO Stadium?
No, that's the home of the East Tigers, Richo's second home ground.
Oh, there you go. What are your thoughts since Sunday, Adele? We obviously got it. Got your thoughts on Sunday, but obviously this thing coming out today with Adam and Benj. What's your take on it all?
I've said it before. I think Michael Shamus is the best journo in rugby league. So usually what he writes is really on the money. The first thing I took from it is Richo wanted Paul McGregor as our assistant coach. So I don't know, like, we've dodged a bullet. From everything I know in rugby league, that's the first thing I'll say. If Paul McGregor was going to be one of our assistants instead of Brett Hodgson, I'm taking Brett Hodgson every day of the week. So there's the first part I'm going to say about learnings that I didn't know about. Second part to it is, I think that this is the first time in rugby league history, and I don't think Michael in his article was having a crack at Benji. He was just saying what he was saying, right? He was just providing information that was provided to him that are basic facts. So I don't think, sorry, I'm just laughing because someone wrote a comment and I don't know who it is. I don't think Michael was having a crack at Benji at all. The thing for me is, this is the first time in rugby league history where we're seeing guys who are not the best players in a squad actually trying to cause rumblings in and around a playing group. Because what we do know is all the good players in our squad love Benji. I also think, and this is not fact, but this is me reading between the lines, I think Michael gave away his source today without giving it away about who the people are, because it's not any of the football stuff. I can guarantee that. The only other people it could be is people that have left the club in the last, 6 to 8 weeks, which we already know who those people are, or players who are disgruntled. I mean, let's be honest. We had information that Brandon Toomuth and Justin Matamua were being disgruntled. So, if that's the case, well, why are we really worried about guys that are not in our top 30? Sorry, we've lost Rob, have we?
No, he's listening intently, I believe.
I'm not allowed to interrupt you, mate. I'm not allowed to interrupt you, bro.
But that's my point.
Say that for Sunday.
Yeah. The other thing from my angle is you can't win in this situation if you're Benji, because obviously what we're learning is 12 months ago, John Bateman, David Clemmer were 2 of the players having a crack at Benji. Both come from the same management company, complaining that he looked after the young kids. Now we have it the other way around. Same management company, one of the players leaves the club and basically all of a sudden decides that, Benji now is too favourable to the senior players. Where does it stop in regards to trying to go out after our coach? The last point I will come up with in regards to this all is this. Wayne Bennett was always known to have his favourites. using childish terms like a click, and I'm assuming Michael is paraphrasing or quoting players without actually directing quoting them. When they are using terms like click, it's teenage year, it's childish. But when Wayne Bennett, everyone laughed about him taking Bo Scott and Darius Boyd and Neville Costigan and all these guys. Dane Gagai, they followed him everywhere he went. Nobody's seen that as a laughing thing. We're in a situation, we've got premiership winners in our squad, and now those players support our coach, and we're turning it into a negative. It's unheard of. It's absolutely unheard of. So, as much as Michael wrote the article and he wasn't, I don't believe he was being critical of Benji, besides stating facts. At the same time, I know where people are going to run with it, and that's the factual attack that Benji is causing. Doesn't know how to manage. I seen one of our idiot fans, and sorry, I'm going to call you an idiot if you're an idiot these days. One of our idiot fans talking about that he can't manage players. I actually think he's doing the complete opposite. Benji's showing some ticker and saying, if you're not a part of what we want here, see you later. I've got no problem with it. What we have done wrong, what we 100% have done wrong with this, is we have managed this a little bit too old school in how we have attacked this TDS thing. And the same thing I said around the Galvin situation is, as far as Talon Da Silva's concerned, if everything was amicable and everybody was happy, we needed to use that little bit of leverage. My only hope, and it's not our business, as much as I would love it to be our business, it's not our business. My hope is they have decided to take a gamble on managing the cap this year to help us next year. The one thing I do know is last year, the back end of last year, if we don't do what we do and we have money left, we don't get Terrell May. What we have learned in rugby league is just because the players aren't off contract, it doesn't mean openings aren't going to come. So for all I know, we could get you our Terrell May in the off season this year, or someone that, is either agitates from their club or some clubs let go. So having money up your sleeve is not so much a negative. So I'm going to trust Richo to get that right.
Any response to that, Rob? Permission to speak?
No, I totally agree with everything that Adele's saying there. I could probably, I don't know how much you heard Adele before you came on. I've said that I accept that I don't mind Talon leaving, like at the end of the year, but in terms of like trying to compete this year and have our best 17, how do you feel about the fact that we've let him go right now, given that Hope's going to play hooker on the weekend and most likely Murray's going to fill some minutes on the bench? If we're genuine about trying to finish as high as we can on the table, I mean, is the cap that much more important than letting go a backup player like Talon Da Silva right now?
Well, you've got to make a judgment call as a club. And I know for us as fans, in the short term right now, it's probably one of those things where you sit there and you go, oh, they've given up on the season. They may and may not have. I think it's a calculated decision. The cap is very, very important. I don't know how well they can manage it, so that's a separate thing. The other noticeable thing, Rob, is, and I told you earlier the week about this, Jared Hayward's been upgraded to a train and trial deal. So by that, it means he can play first grade. I know as a club, we're a little bit sort of worried about playing kids when they're too young and letting them develop. But I don't necessarily think that's a true thing. I mean, Galvin played at 18. Luke Lauli played at 18. I know we want him to develop, but we're not that club.
Benji did.
Yeah, Robbie Farah debuted at the same age that Jared Hayward is right now. So, every situation is different. Every player is different. I don't know if Jared Hayward's, ready for it. Benji Marshall didn't even play New South Wales Cup or flag. He come straight from Kebra Park, flew him down early in the week. So, look, to say people can or can't do it, and how you prefer things to happen, we can't be that club. I'm sorry. And I know there's specific people on social media that, have West Tigers accounts that say certain things. We are not in that position. We don't have the luxury of putting people in reserve grade for 2 years. We don't have that luxury.
I know, Adele, but you know what? We should have that luxury of at least half a season to a season. I think that comes back to our lack of depth. It'd be really nice if Hayward could get a number of New South Wales cup games under his belt till you realise, you know what, this kid is just way too good for this level. Let's bring him up. And I think that's the issue. Like, you know, you've spoken to me privately about Macassini and how good he is. And I think, to use your words to me, Adele, he's Israel Folau 2.0. I don't think he's fair that, like, once he's ready, he gets a couple of games in cup and bang, he's in first grade straight away. I think there's just a little bit too much expectation on these kids because they're not just jumping up a level, they're jumping up a few levels. And it's really a much heavier weight division to go straight into first grade and expect success straight away. I think you need to build up their confidence a little bit. And that comes back to our roster having been so poorly managed for the last 6 or 7 years, in my opinion.
He's looked good in cup, though. He's been playing cup.
Yeah, and they will play cup. Like, these guys will play cup. Jersey Flag's also under 21s. It's no longer under 20. So there's that little bit of an extra year as well. Look, we've seen a lot of them from other clubs, and I get it. Like, obviously that's the preference, Rob, is of them playing through those grades. But I remember you and I think you told me you seen Haywood play. Look, I've got a massive rap on him. I remember people at the club asking me, and I said, I gave the opinion. The other thing about Haywood that I think he's got an advantage over De Silva is Haywood has played a lot in the halves, and in the modern day, guys that have come through the ranks have played both hooker and half have always become the better hookers. As they've progressed. Uppy, I don't know if people know this, Uppy was a half all the way through the junior ranks and then became a hooker when he got to, I think he became a hooker at Souths in Toyota Cup in those days. So I think being a half and doing both plays a significant advantage to that. Because at the end of the day, look, the alternative is if you do keep Talon, and I truly believe, after reading what I've read and hearing what I've heard, I reckon the club has decided if we sign Talon after we sign Appy as well, because in the Shamus article, it doesn't say that specifically that, and I'm guessing he spoke to Mario because it felt like he's sort of talked about what Mario has spoken to him about. It feels like that Talon would have stayed if the deal was right. I think the club has actually decided, well, if we keep him, that means we're probably going to lose Haywood. What's the bigger loss?
I'm with you there, Adele. I'm just thinking about the rest of the year. I would have had no problem if they just let him go at the end of the year. I just feel like we're in the crocodile roll. We need to win games. We need our best 17. I think right now, Talon could have added to our first grade team off the bench when Appy is fully fit. And let's face it, he would have been starting most likely this week.
It has to be, Robert, that at training, he's not happy. He's not the vibe.
I agree.
It has to be that, which I don't begrudge him, but me as a coach, the best player in the club doesn't want to be with me. I would say, mate, no worries. We'll win without you. The hard part for us is we don't have the luxury, and us as fans struggle with the patience of it all. I've seen it, mate. I've seen the comments the last couple of days. I don't begrudge any fans. The only thing I don't want them doing is attacking people who I think are doing a good job or good enough job, which I know we disagree on, Rob.
No, everyone's trying, man. But yeah, I think some things we can do a little bit better. That's all.
Yeah, I thought I'd quickly jump on. Josh, I didn't want to take your time. Aaron, Saturday, NRLW round 1. Let's hope the girls can play well.
I was going to say, Az, do you want to throw in an NRLW question for Adele before he jumps off?
No, not at the moment. Not off the top of my head.
Who's someone to keep an eye on, Adele, in our girls team that we might not be thinking about?
All the girls that I wanted to play are not playing this week, so that's disappointing.
Except for Lutu.
Lutu's,
Well, I can tell you that was made sure that could happen. I'm very glad the club did that. No, but look, at the end of the day, I've said everything I've said about it. I'm still going to leave work early on Saturday, get down there and support the girls. Like, at the end of the day, for me, I love that playing group, or the players that I know, and that team is very important to me. So all we can do is support them as much as we can for the whole year. But anyone playing this weekend? No, not really. Josh, I think Kezi.
Just even the season, the whole season, like they might not be in the side this week, but moving forward.
Luciana, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She's 18. She's just turned 18 years old. I would have started her in the back row this week. I think she's the second best back row at the club behind Kezi. She's one that will play. She's a dev player. And then Teresa Liasamanu, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. She's the other one that I talked about earlier. Again, she's only a dev player as well. So those girls can't actually play until someone gets injured. So they're the two that I'm looking forward to seeing at the back end of the year at some stage. But big task this week against probably the premiership favourites in the Broncos.
Yeah, Scotty.
Yep.
I saw Scotty Prince was on the fan tonight. So
And
I will.
Upton.
And just to everybody out there, round 3, the boys play at Leichhardt. I'll be down there. The girls actually play it. First ever doubleheader at Leichhardt Oval, NRLW and NRL. That'll be at Leichhardt Oval in 2 weeks' time. So I know
Can't
we're all
wait.
looking forward to that. We'll all be there.
just got to beat the Roosters and the Wars first.
All right, I'll enjoy going back to just being a spectator for the rest of the night. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Adele. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks for
Adele.
coming on.
That was nice. Well done with making him appear out of nowhere via magic, Roberto.
Gosh, what happens if I say win, win, win? Will that work?
Win, win, win.
Do we get 2 competition points if I say that?
Win, win, win. Like the magic dust from Ronnie Palmer. Right. Do you want to, while I'm bringing up the next slide, do you want to give a spiel for iChoice while we're at it, Roberto? And everyone in the comments, please, give us a like if you're watching on the YouTube stream too. Help out that algorithm as well. Like Rob said the other night, we got good numbers for Adele. So if you like it as you're watching it, it gets it into more feeds, helps us out. Cheers.
Yeah, give Jason and his team a call from iChoice Informed Loans a call on 9743 0000. They're at the corner of Liverpool Road and the Boulevard at Strathfield. You all know Jason is a die-hard West Tigers supporter, formerly Balmain supporter. He will look after you, and everything you do with him will absolutely cost you nothing. So if you need finance, give him a call and he will certainly help you.
Yeah, it's a big one, isn't it? Until you actually go through, he takes, he doesn't actually get money from you. He gets it from the bank. Is that how it works?
Yeah, he gets paid from the financial institution. But
Yeah.
The best part is he'll structure it in a way that just saves you money. I mean, I know he's a financial expert, but he's basically the advice he gives me on taxation and stuff like that. He's like having an accountant. He's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, very, very smart man. Great man, Jason, over the iChoice. Righto. Do we talk about a little bit more about the game? I've got the wrong bloody game there. Hang on. We didn't play the Raiders. That was the week before. We played against the Manly Sea Eagles, which I will bring up. How are you feeling about the Sea Eagles game? What are we? 1, 2, Friday, Saturday, 24, 48, 72, 96, 120 hours. Is that right? Did I get my maths right there since that game?
120 and change. It was a 6 p.m. game. So, basically 123. So, I mean, it was a tough watch, wasn't it? The first half was very dodgy from both teams. We didn't take advantage of all the opportunities that Manly gave us. Defended fairly well for the most part, forced them to make some errors. But then, as is tradition, we conceded a try basically right on halftime, and from there we're on the back foot. And then through the second half, we again had a little bit of a period at the start of the second half there where we just didn't touch the ball, and they scored points, got a repeat set afterwards as well, and started to get really worried that it was going to turn into another game where, like the Broncos game, where they just have a really big burst of possession out of the blocks in the second half, and it really just decimates the team for the remainder of the game. Some big plays by some players as well throughout the game, so there was some positive signs there. Good to see, but yeah, like just a tough game to watch. Not a great performance by the team. I mean, a couple of standout players, which we'll get to when we do the player ratings, but yeah, overall it was pretty rough game to watch. We were all feeling pretty flat by the end of it. And yeah, on to the next one.
Being sick had its advantages for me this week. I actually did put myself through a rewatch of the game, and man, it was just frustrating watching that first half because there were just so many, as I say, sliding doors moments where I think we just could have cracked them and could have gotten a lead, and just it might have just changed the whole game. I think a 28-10 scoreline would say otherwise, but it's just we just keep giving up points in bursts, and it's just losing grip of the game. And that's another one that was there for the taking, even though 18 plus shouldn't say that. But just the Heath Mason, and like I hate to call out a player, but just dropping the ball cold on the line, like when we had him on the ropes, like just I know it's a big if. Maybe we don't score on that set, but I don't know. It's just one of those ones where, yeah, just a little bit of luck, a little bit of a bounce of the ball. We obviously lost Appy a little bit later on in that one as well. And then obviously Saab scoring. If Skelton, yeah, that was just such a bad miss. I don't know why he wasn't staying on his man and jammed in there, because Adam had been defending so well as well at centre on Turbo, and just gave him so much space to work with when he shouldn't have had that much. So, Rob, you broke it down a little bit on Sunday night, obviously a lot was on the Sunday night, but any other thoughts since you broke it down with Adele?
No, nothing's really changed for me, Josh. It was quite an ugly first half to watch because both teams are incapable of scoring tries. Both teams mucked up their red zone attack, as you said, till the 40th minute. Everyone says like that's one of the worst halves we've ever played. When you're averaging roughly 31 metres a set and you can hold a team out for 39 minutes, that's not the worst game of footy we've ever played. We lost the game 64-0 earlier this year to Melbourne. So there was certainly a lot of resilience in defence. It was a committed performance, but it just seemed like a performance where it was, again, beyond our normal clunky selves, and we couldn't put a couple of passes together in the red zone, or if we did, it was just very mundane, simple play, one out ruck, turn the ball inside. You know, you're mentioning, the Heath Mason drop in the 36th or 37th minute. Again, we don't know if we would have scored from that, and there were plenty of other moments, but I thought Manly were really off that game in the first half, especially Lehigh Hopewadi, who's been brilliant for them all year, but those couple of drop balls made me think maybe he's still feeling the effects of the concussion that he had. Turbo's not 100%, Tom Trebojevic. He just doesn't, he looked pretty ordinary against the Gold Coast. And Adam Dewey, I thought, smoked him this week. He like Adam Dewey looked like Turbo, and it was like they swapped personalities there. The second half was disappointing. They really identified our right edge, and obviously they still got a couple of tries down our left edge as well. But just one of those games where you just think under normal circumstances, if we'd have had Jerome, if we'd have had Jerome, we probably win that game. But we still had enough opportunities, guys. And it just, like I said, a couple of bad decisions or bad not being able to execute in the red zone turns around what we all call a garbage first half in what might have been a 12-0 lead. And we would have said, gee, we played really well the first half. So I think the criticism is unfair based on how well we defended. But yeah, in terms of our attack, it was absolute, it was awful to watch.
Alex Seyfarth scoring a try, that was a plus. As rewatching that, he went through a gap the Titanic could have gone through, but at least that was something to hang our hats on.
Yeah, it was an absolute ripper of a pass by Adam Dewey for that one. Saw a giant gaping hole and sent Alex Seyfarth through it basically untouched. And I do remember us sitting there thinking that was way too easy. Surely there's an obstruction in there, but no, there absolutely wasn't. It was just easy.
Let's go. Should we go to the player ratings? Anything else we want to touch on in that game, or we want to kind of get to it as we do the player ratings?
I've got nothing else to say on it, guys. But yeah, it's over, and it's another one that we can put in the bank, even though it was an 18-point loss. That if that first half goes a little bit differently, I think the scoreline could have ended up the other way around.
So Heath Mason 3.2, Sonia Taruva 4.8, Adam Dewey 6.6, Stafford Toa 4.3, Jarrell Skelton 5.0, Api Coruscant 5.1, Latu Fainu 5.6, Terrell May 5.8, Talon Da Silva in his last game as the Tiger 3.2, Fanua Bole 5.3, Samuel Fainu 5.5, Jack Bird 4.8, Alex 12 4.9, Alex Safer 5.2, Sione Fainu 5.4, Tony Sukar 4.3, and Luke Lolly 4.3. I believe I did have Jerome Luai in the form, but he obviously pulled out late. But yeah, some low numbers there, but you just mentioned Adam Dewey's great try assist before. So Adam getting the man of the match according to the people on this one. So at least that was good to see. Adam, as you said on Sunday night, Rob was in his natural position in the halves. I don't understand people that don't say that Adam isn't a half. He is his best position, and we've seen him in the past play really well in the halves. So, I mean, I think he'll do a good job this week as well. It'll be interesting to have a week. Well, obviously, I'm kind of previewing in the review here, but having a week to train in the halves with Latu will hopefully help a little bit for this week, because I think Adam did such a great job on Friday night. It's just a shame that couldn't quite execute around him. Any of those numbers, boys, stand out as a too high or too low?
I can't see those numbers, guys. So I'm going to.
You're on the mobile.
I'm on the mobile, so I'll let Aaron do all the talking for me on these numbers tonight. I just hope Adams were good, and I hope people didn't go too harshly on any of the boys that made a couple of obvious errors.
Well, I'll let you go.
Obviously. I think Adam being the player of the match in the public's eyes is pretty fair. He was, to me, definitely a bit of a standout as well. Obviously, being one of the players that got shuffled around a fair bit. Not a lot of passes overall, which I find a little bit strange. Sione Fainu being one of the highest scorers off the bench again, pretty good. Tony Sukar and Luke Laulii, I didn't see any or too much wrong with their game, so I'm surprised that they're not rated a little bit higher. Sonia Taruva, I feel, and Jarrell Skelton, I think, both been rated a little bit unfairly. I thought they both had decent games. Obviously, Jarrell, some misses in defence that led to a couple of tries. He also missed a little bit of time out with his HIA. Another good score for Terrell May, but we kind of expect that. I thought that's probably around the mark for him as well. Talon, even though he's not here anymore, I feel like 3.2 maybe a little low for him as well. Although some of his passes were kind of out the front of the rest of the team. And again, we had the same problem I think I mentioned this last week, where a lot of the time we look too stagnant, especially when we get to the red zone. We don't really have players running onto the ball. And like there's a lot of passing to players who are a bit flat-footed and not really getting any momentum through to tackles and plays. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too surprised. I feel like the scores on average probably a little lower than I would rate most players. A few players are probably sort of around the mark where I would expect.
So based on those numbers, the 3, 2, 1, Adam gets the 3, Terrell gets the 2, and Latu gets the 1. What's your 3, 2, 1 for this week, RB?
You're going to have to refresh my memory on my 2 and 1. I know my 3 was Adam Dewey, and I know I've got Latu there somewhere. I can't even remember who my other person is. But look, who is it? Twally? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll start with Adam. I mean, I think Adam's performance was there for everyone to see. He made some unbelievably good defensive reads in that first half, and then to get switched, mid-game, and he was actually our third choice 5'8", to actually be able to do that role and not only just create that try for safe half, but he created another line break earlier where he went through and set up our winger who, put the brakes on and came back inside so he wouldn't go over the sideline. Put up some good bombs as well. So I thought Adam was a clear standout. Latu was a difficult one for me because I know on the eye it doesn't look like he did too much right, but given the fact that he had 3 different halves partners, he showed a lot of composure at times, especially with a couple of his kicks, which forced errors. I thought he steered the ship really well. And remember, there were just so many moving pieces around him. I thought it was a really hard task that he had. So I gave him 2. And I know there's been a bit of criticism of Alex Twal, and this was probably the hardest one. There were a few guys I thought were worthy of a point. I thought Alex Twal's start of the game was really impressive. I thought he ran with vigour, had an offload. He just looked like he was really up for the game, and he stood out to me. Normally, Alex Twal doesn't stand out. He just goes about his business, and as Adele always says, he's always around that 7 out of 10 mark with his performance. But I thought he was really good. But again, there were other players that played really well too. I thought Samuela was really good as well. But I just thought I'd give Alex a point. I'm guessing Aaron's given Samuela a point or 2 somewhere there. But yeah, they both played well.
Yep, as?
Yeah, so I gave Samuela the 1 point. I feel like he's been one of our better defensive players in recent times. Plus, he's got a really damaging run and offload on him. Most of the time when he ran the ball, he was able to sort of crack the defense a little bit and kind of poke his nose through, which is a really positive sign from him in still the early stages of his career. 2 points I gave to Alex Twal. Basically what Rob said. First half, he very much stood out, looked really good, and had a lot of really good moments. He did make an error or 2, I think, if I'm remembering the correct moments in my head. But overall, it was really hard to fault one of his performances. Like Rob said, often he doesn't stand out. He just goes about his business, and when he stands out, you kind of have to take notice. So that's how good I thought he was. And same as the public and same as Rob, I gave my 3 to Adam Dewey as well. One of his better games. Yes, he missed a kick at goal, but when you lose by 18 points, I don't think that matters all that much. Overall, one of our most damaging plays in the game. In the centres, he's, like you guys touched on earlier, he made Tom Turbo look like Adam Dewey, and Adam Dewey himself looked like Tom Turbo. So it was a really great game by Adam. Some massive defensive reads, forced a couple of errors as well. Kept Turbo very, very quiet, which, even though he was in the centres, is often very hard to do, generally no matter what position he plays, because he plays centres in Origin and still looks like an absolute madman. So, yeah, great performance there. And then obviously setting up that try for safe half. And once he moved into the halves, he still looked really damaging. So happy to see Adam have a really good game.
HC23 here on the YouTube, Rob suggesting AD is a 13. Do you think AD could play 13? Defensively might be a worry.
I don't think he could handle the defensive workload. You got to remember, on Friday night, he didn't miss a tackle, but he only had to make 10 tackles. I think when, if you're playing in the middle and you've got to start making between 30 and 40 tackles, it's going to take his toll on him. In terms of ball playing and playing that role Latu's played, yeah, I get that in terms of attack. I just don't think he'd cop the workload in defence. And, we've had that touted, around Galvin as well. I don't think Galvin could handle 13 as well. So there's a lot of tall guys that, you can say they can definitely play lock with the ball, but you've got to be able to tackle as well and have that motor on both ends of the ball.
Somewhere Gaz is having a heart attack hearing that suggestion. But, it's a shame.
About Dewey.
About Dewey, yeah, putting him at 13.
Well, the sad thing is, Josh, he's clearly our best player the other night. I know we didn't have our full team out there with our fullback missing and our 5'8" missing, and obviously Appy getting injured through the game. But we're 99% going to lose Adam Dewey at the end of the year. So you're still, you're weakening your squad every time you got someone that can fill a role and multiple positions, and we end up losing them. And that's what I'm saying. That's why we're forced to play a lot of these young kids too early, because they don't have time to find their feet and just, get a few games of cup and just make that little bit of a step up before they come into first grade. It's it's a shame we can't keep someone like Adam, but we've got Buckley's of keeping him because I know for a fact he's on a minimum contract this year. And given how he's playing now, he's going to. There's clubs out there that are just for his defence alone in the centres. That's enough for a club to want to have him because so many centres miss tackles, and Adam's timing at the moment and when to come in, when to hit, he's been really effective. So he didn't miss a tackle the other night, which you'd be shocked if you'd asked that about Adam a year ago. No offence to Adam.
Do you think there's zero chance he does a 1-year extension?
If he signed with Isaac Moses to be his manager, there's 0%.
That's a good point.
He's looking for a contract with some decent coin, and who could begrudge the guy? You never know what's going to happen with his knee. He's had multiple knee reconstructions, two operations just for his last knee injury. To be able to get that rectified. So credit to him for getting back to like 3/4 of the player he was. It's just a bit of a shame that his goal kicking's gone off the boil for probably the last month, really, because if he kicks his goals against Penrith, we're looking at golden point. So it's just a little bit of a shame. Hopefully he's working on that, and hopefully we get a few shots at goal this week against the Roosters. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Some of your best rants. So thank you to everyone who did submit their ratings and their rants for this week. Keep an eye out for it on Sunday afternoon on our socials. Doug Howard said, when there's no rudder, the sailors have no idea where they're going. David G said, men versus boys. Literally, our spine at one point had 3 teenagers in it. That's a game I would not even review. Give Adele the week off. No point. Throw it in the bin. Manly were marginally better than us, but not by much. David said, must be a different David, I assume. Manly halves equals 550 games experience. Tigers halves, not even 30 games experience. That's combined Mason, Fainu, Dewey, and Appy. We never stood a chance once Luai was out. Game should have been over at halftime. We just missed Buller and Romy too much. Manly were dog shit. We just have no experience to execute a game plan. The rest of the season is going to be tough. I think we have wins in us, but we need a fully fit, available 17. Paul said, if the team on average have poor ratings, that to me represents poor coaching. Righto, as you pick both the winners this week, can you read the screen there?
Yeah, I can read it.
Put the kettle on.
The first one wasn't as long as the second one, but all right. So Aiden says, "Don't even know."
The second one, I definitely didn't put the whole thing in. I've only
I did see that.
It was an essay, but yeah. So Aiden, so these winners, please slide into our DMs, and we'll let tell you how to get your Orange Grove $20 voucher. Go away, guys.
So Aiden says, don't even know what to say after that. First half may have been the worst half of footy I've ever seen in my life. Instant collapse in the second half. Benji should have kept his mouth shut at halftime because whatever he said didn't help at all. Seriously questioning his coaching ability. Couldn't settle on a spine combination in the second half and looked like everything was just being chopped and changed on the fly. Zero spark and creativity. Even the way we just try to get up the field with meterage doesn't make sense. Slow and flat. TDS don't let the door hit you on the way out. Mason, have fun in New South Wales Cup. No Appy, no Luai, and no Buller next week. Won't even bother watching. Roosters 30+. See you at the Titans games for Spoon Bowl.
That's not like you, Aaron, to pick something like that.
Well, considering a lot of the other choices had a lot more that I didn't agree with, I went with the ones that I agreed with more parts of.
And Joshua Shalalala.
Shalala.
Was that actually a name? Is that an Arabic name? Okay.
I'm assuming so.
Okay. Sorry, Joshua. I was just singing shalala, shalala in the morning.
You know how many times he probably would have heard that already in his young life?
Sorry, guys.
So Joshua says, it's such a shame as we really had them by the scruff of the neck in the first half, but you could always tell that the attack was too static, and it has been that way for a few weeks now. We look so dangerous when we shift the ball. Why don't we do it more often? I think Mason had an absolute stinker, and he is not fit for fullback in first grade. Luke Laulii, on the other hand, was actually a huge light, and he played really well. Dewey was sensational, and I think that he has to start at 6 against the Chooks. Overall, an extremely disappointing game, and a game which describes the story of our season. sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, from Gennaro Gattuso.
So slide into our DMs, boys, and get your Orange Grove Hotel. Shout out to the Finger Boys as well. We'll be at the OG on Sunday afternoon, 2:00 kickoff, isn't it? We're about to preview that game,
Yep,
so
2:00.
might as well bring that up now. So 2 p.m. Join us at the Orange Grove Sunday afternoon for some great look. The game might not go overly well, but come enjoy it in good company. At the Orange Grove with us. It's always nice to have other West Tigers fans to yell and scream, and it was annoying to have one really loud, obnoxious Manly fan behind us somehow last week.
He was fairly quiet until towards the end of the game too, wasn't he?
Yeah, funny.
He only started to really pipe up when Manly's win looked a little bit more guaranteed.
Yeah, he had a few sherbets under him, I think. How are we feeling about this one, Roberto? It's obviously. Do you want to run us through the team list?
I can do that. So our team list, first of all, so we've got Sunia Taruva lining up at fullback with Charlie Staines and Gerald Skelton on the wings. Luke Laulii and Stafford Toa are the centres. Adam Dewey is the 5'8" with Latu Fainu at halfback. Terrell May and Fanua Bole are starting front rowers. Tristan Hope is in at hooker. Samuel Fainu and Jack Bird are the second rowers with Alex Twal, the captain, at lock. Our bench is Charlie Murray, Alex Seyfarth, Sione Fainu, and Tony Sukar. Kit Laulii is our 18th man. The rest of our reserves are Brent Naden, Royce Hunt, Solomona Fa'atape, and Isaac Tuitupo.
Yeah, thoughts on the fullback situation, Roberto? So you said on Sunday night you demanded that Benji put Sunia at just playing around the camera angles. Sunia at fullback. He must have listened.
Yeah, I wish. Oh, look, Benji had some really challenging decisions given who was out this week and who was available. Don't forget, besides the injuries, we also had Heath Mason suspended for pushing the referee in the back. I think he should have got 4 weeks for not pushing him harder. But anyway, so look, I'm very happy with Taruva at fullback. I think that was a no-brainer. I actually threatened we're not going to do a Sunday pod if he wasn't at fullback. So I was trying to get out of reviewing this game this Sunday night. I think the hardest one, Josh, is, he's probably got to run with Luke Laulii at centre, but boy, he's going to have a monumental task against Nwanganitawaze because although Nwanganitawaze has some defensive deficiencies, in terms of his attack and what he's able to do, I've been watching footy since I was knee high, and he's one of the most talented guys with the ball in attack that I've ever seen in my life. He's so good to watch. I know why he's come from rugby union, because he's actually the perfect rugby union player. Can do everything in attack, and it doesn't matter if you miss a tackle or two. He's absolutely brilliant to watch. But what were the other choices? Fa'atape seems on the outer, Folletti's on the outer. So I think that's a really tough matchup for Luke, but hopefully he can do a job. When it comes to the forwards, Josh, I'm not sold on how it's set up. I'm hearing Jack Bird might be out, but regardless of that, I would have started with Suka and have Jack Bird on the bench and play Jack Bird as a middle. I don't like Jack Bird on the edge. Not that he missed any tackles last week, although he did leave a gaping hole for the Manly second rower to go through. But also, I'd have Fanua Bole on the bench like we did against Canberra when he played really well, and start with Sione Fainu. But again, Benji's gone with his best team. I don't know if you're going to get Aaron to read out the Roosters team, but I will say what shocked me about looking at these lineups, with the exception of the Roosters' new winger, the Roosters' backline looks absolutely, $1 million. That's as good a backline as they've got. But my God, their forward pack and bench, from number 9 to number 17, you might recognise a couple of names, and I'm sure they're talented players, but I don't really know much about those players. So, the hopeful part of me is thinking forwards are meant to win matches. I don't think we've got the backs to score many points, but I think, it's a shame Appy's not playing this week, because someone like Appy with his guile around the ruck could have absolutely carved holes through the Roosters forward pack. But yeah, the forward pack for the Roosters doesn't look like it's very experienced or much chop, other than the Fanu White, and obviously they got Egan Butcher in the second row, but Egan Butcher's not playing great footy at the moment. Now that I say that, he'll probably score a try.
Yeah.
There's really not many other names I recognise there. So it looks on paper like our forward pack is much better than theirs. So we really should be in this game up to our eyeballs. It's just a matter of, can we get that field positioning? Can we get the Roosters, keep them on their back foot so that they're brilliant backs like your Tedesco's, like their centres, Nwanganitawaze and Smith and the Yatupus and the halves, we just got to keep them quiet. But yeah, hopefully Luke Alatu Fainu, has a really good kicking game. That's imperative. And obviously Adam needs to be kicking as well. But yeah, we're just got to get in the arm wrestle. And if we're to win this game, guys, as terrible as it sounds, it's going to need to be something like 12-10. I really don't see us scoring 18 points. It's going to have to be a low-scoring game. Our defence is going to have to be on, and we're just going to have to win all those stats and just hope that we keep the Roosters camped in their end of the field.
As?
Yeah, it is a really tough one. I do like the Sunita River at fullback. I'm glad to see Charlie Staines get another game. Obviously, a very interrupted career, particularly since he came to us. Luke Laulii in the centres is an interesting choice, especially considering he most likely will be lining up opposite Mark Nwanganitawaze, which is going to be a very tough match considering his height and his ability. I mean, he scored the try of the season so far this year, I'd have to say, in that game against the Bulldogs, where he somehow managed to plant the ball inside the dead ball line and inside the touching goal line in a really athletic display there. As for the forwards, Terrell and Fanua, we've basically got our main starting front row pair back, which is a good sign. Hopefully Fanua does start this game. Alex Twal at captain is certainly a choice. I hope he goes well. Happy for him to lead the boys out this weekend. And yeah, I've heard the rumours about Jack Bird too. So I'm wondering if that would bring maybe Tony Sukar in to start, potentially maybe bring Royce Hunt back onto the bench, or maybe Kit Laulii comes out of 18th man and onto the bench as well. So yeah, there's a couple of options there. It is a tricky one, obviously, with the outs this week. Obviously, Appy with the HIA. Hopefully, he only misses the one game. Heath missing the one game with the suspension, and Talon departing the club. So, I mean, big shoes to fill in a lot of fronts. And I mean, yeah, Charlie Murray probably going to have to play some minutes at hooker as well. Seyfarth probably remains in the front row rotation. Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a really tough game, like Rob said. This spine does not have a lot of reps. It's basically a makeshift spine. I think Taruva's going to have to be one of the more focal points of our attack, along with Adam and Latu. Hopefully we can score some points, but yeah, I'm a little concerned about this game.
Royce Hunt, as mentioned there, Rob, 10 minutes either side for Royce Hunt against this lesser forward pack of the Roosters. I know you've been quite critical of him. Do you think maybe it's a game that maybe he can find some form?
Look, apparently Royce Hunt found some form in Cup last weekend.
He was pretty good.
I think he played 33 minutes and had an offload. I don't want to steal Adele's thunder, but speaking to Adele about Royce Hunt earlier this evening, Adele said, you know what, it's good to see him do that, but don't bring him up, make him do it again. Let him realise you just can't have one good game to bring him back up. Like, let him know, if you mean business, you got to be able to do this week in, week out. I know it's 33 minutes in Cup. I just don't know if he can bust out those sort of minutes in first grade. Personally, I prefer someone on the bench that, for want of a better term, I know I can trust. That said, I don't know what forward we've got in Cup that can play big minutes. I like what Kit Laulii can do with the ball and how hard he runs the ball. But again, how many minutes has he got in him? So maybe you are better off bringing Royce Hunt in as opposed to Kit Laulii. But, we're going to have to go up Main Street. We're just going to have to play this straight down the middle. And even though Saar is our strike right centre, Billy Smith is a great defender. So if it were me, as great as Nwanganitawaze is in attack, I'd be trying to focus my attack down that side, because not only is he not the best defender in the world, but he's also got a kid on the wing who I absolutely know nothing about. He might be a brilliant winger, I don't know, but surely we've got to put him under pressure, and we've got to put some kick pressure on him as well. So I'd be focusing everything down the Roosters' right side. And when we get into some sort of attacking position, whether it's 35 metres out and in towards the red zone, I'd like to see Latu on both sides of the ruck, really straightening up that attack. And when he does give that ball outside to Adam, Adam's got plenty of room and he's got plenty of options to work out what he wants to do from there. But our kicking game is going to have to be on point. It might even be a little bit of a blessing, even though I'm talking up to Taruva under the high ball. It might actually be a bit of a blessing that Taruva is at fullback, because I'm sure the Roosters will be putting up bombs for Daniel Tupu, and at least Charlie Staines is a little bit taller, and not as tall as Tupu, but he's certainly a lot taller than Tito Taruva. So that might be a blessing for us. But look, as long as the boys put in a good performance, as much as I want to win, I just want to look like we've worked on stuff this week, and when we do throw some shape at the Roosters, it looks like we've really worked on it, and whether it's good enough or not isn't the issue for me. It's just about trying to improve every week. We can't expect too much, because it is a totally brand new spine this week that's never started first grade together. So, we're all frustrated. We're all impatient. And I guess deep down, we're hoping for a conservative loss. But given, again, we might get flogged, guys, but given what I've seen from 9 to 17 of the Roosters, if our forwards are on, we can nail these blokes in their own half. We really can, with a good kicking game and some good defence. Just watch Teddy sniffing around the ruck and those sort of guys. We can be in this for a long time. I just hope we score early, get ahead, so we're not chasing points, because we don't have a lineup that can chase points, in my opinion. We're the sort of team we're going to need to be up 2-0, 6-0, 8-0, and just try and, kick the Roosters to death, basically.
Right, lower grades. New South Wales Cup got a win 28-14 over the Chooks last week. So they beat the Roosters last week. They played really well. I caught the second half of that on Bar TV. They are down at GIO Stadium. They must be before the Raiders game this week. So unlucky if you're playing Cup this week. You got to go down to Canberra instead of playing in Sydney, where it's meant to be 21 degrees on Sunday. So that's would suck if you can't get a crack in first grade this week. They're running 9th now. So coming back a little bit, the Maggies in New South Wales Cup. In the Jersey Flegg, they they lost to the Chooks 28-22. They are also down in Canberra as well. They're playing in at Raiders Belconnen. Jared Hayward's playing in that game. We've got Sokoru. Who else is in there? Phoenix Gordon A is playing. Josh Fellerty is in there. So, plenty of young guys getting a run there. I'm surprised that Hayward isn't in Cup this week. Interesting. But be as it may. They're coming 8th. So I think we worked out last week. It's the top 5, isn't it? In Flegg. We should really got to remember to look that up. NRLW this week so they kicking off the season on Saturday, 12:45 against the Broncos. What are you feeling about this one?
Did you want me to go through the team list first or anything?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we might as well read out the girls' team list.
All right, so fullback, we've got Jatea Faifua. Our wingers are Tarina Teitamaki and Caitlin Turnbull, Lily Rogan and Emily Bass in the centres. New South Wales under-19s are 5'8". Evie McGrath is our 5'8". Lizana Lutu is at halfback. Premier front rower Sarah Togatuki is back along with Christian Pio in the front row. Piuka Berriman Duff is our hooker. Captain Kezi Apps and Montana Clifford are in the second row with Jade Fanua at lock. Chelsea Seville, Tara Renke, Jessica Reeves and Amelia Huakau are our bench with Faith Monera as 18th player. The rest of our reserves are Claudia Brown, Claudia Nielsen, Rebecca Pollard and Iamima Etuale. They are coached by Brett Camorley, so it's his 3rd year at the helm for us. Honestly, it's going to be a really tough game for this first game. I mean, just look at some of the names in this Broncos team list. I'm just going to give you their spine first of all. So their fullback is Tamika Upton. Their 5'8" is Gail Broughton. Their halfback is Ali Brigginshaw, who can play halfback and lock. And their hooker is Jada Ferguson. And while Tamika hasn't been there for the last 3 seasons, she started her NRLW career up at the Broncos and has absolutely carved it up. So this is just going to be like stepping back into familiar shoes for her. You look at some of the other names in this team list. They've got Julia Robertson in the centres, who normally plays winger. Her winger is Hayley Maddox, so there's a lot of power there. Mele Hufanga, who is an absolute unit of a woman, is also in the centres. Keely Joseph and Brianna Clark is a very damaging front row combo. And they've also got the ever damaging and ever dangerous Chelsea Lenarduzzi on the bench. So, I mean, there is a lot of star power in this team. And I mean, I didn't have them originally as a potential premiership favourite until they got Tamika back. And now that she's back, they are the team that I expect to win the comp. So getting them round 1 is a very tough assignment.
Yeah,
but
so annoying.
in saying that, sometimes getting the best teams or getting the best teams in the early rounds of the season can work out in your favor because you're not expected to win. Like we are the biggest underdog out of the week, and that does include the 2 brand new teams playing their first game. We are a bigger underdog than both of those teams. So like combinations haven't quite gelled yet, which might work out in our favor. So there's a bit to keep an eye on there. A few players I want to keep an eye on, or I'm looking forward to seeing go about their business. Obviously, number 1 is Lizana Lutu. Loved watching Evie McGrath in that New South Wales women's under-19s game. Jatea Faifua, I've heard good things about her, so looking forward to seeing what she brings to the team. Very excited to see Sarah Togatuki back. Massive talent, scored one of our first tries in the history of the competition back in our first game. And Chelsea Seville, I want to see a little bit more of this year too in the number 14. So while I do think this is a very tough game, I am hopeful that the girls can show us some signs that there is a lot to look forward to this year. It will be tough, though, that we do have a 5-day turnaround after this game before we head to Campbelltown to play the Bulldogs next Thursday night. But I think if there's a time to have a 5-day turnaround, it's at the very start of the season when they're at full fitness and fatigue hasn't quite kicked in yet, because with a 12-week season, an 11-week season now, pre-finals, and then getting the 5-day turnaround out of the way early on may not be a terrible thing.
We're $6.70 in this game, 16.5 start.
Yep.
Oof.
Rough.
Okay. Not good. All right. To finish our tips for the week, we've all gone the doggies over the
Broncos.
Over the Bronx. Sorry, looking at the betting, and they got the women's and the men's are mixed in with the betting, so it's my old eyes are a bit confused. Yep, we've all gone doggies in this one. They're at home, not missing too many. They're gonna miss what's your name's 18th? Who's 18th man?
Karaz.
Yeah, Karaz is 18th man, so they're gonna miss.
Missing the prop for New South Wales as well.
King. Crichton, Karaz, and King.
Yeah.
But Broncos are obviously
They're not missing much except Haas and what's their second row? Carrigan.
Shibasaki.
And Shibasaki.
Oh, Shibasaki as well. But they're still competitive. This was a really hard game to pick. So I wouldn't be surprised whoever wins, really. But, I don't think the Bulldogs have lost 2 in a row this year, have they?
No, they haven't.
Not until they play us. Vorgon Raiders against the
Dragons.
Oh, yeah, they're playing Dragons as well. The women, they got the women and the men playing each other back to back. There you go, same teams. Raiders are both heavy favourites in both. We've all gone Raiders in this one.
Yeah, they're only missing one player each, both teams. Josh Papali'i getting recalled to the Queensland team, along with Valentine Holmes from the Dragons team. But I think the Canberra team should be far too strong, and I'm sure they're going to expose the tiny halves of the Dragons.
We've all gone Storm against
North Queensland.
Cowboys. Cowboys?
Cowboys, yeah, you're right. No, sorry. I scrolled too far and went to next week's game. Yes, Storm against Cowboys, you would think. Although Storm, they're obviously missing quite a few through Origin as well, but obviously Cowboys. They're both... This game, this would be probably quite a nice game. There's a lot of Origin. Those spines have both been pretty decimated through Origin. Again, just so dumb that we rip our best players.
Yeah, even their backlines, even the backline for the Melbourne's decimated too, mate. I'm not sure if Howarth got injured, but Chan's in there as a replacement. I thought Chan was a forward, to be honest. So I don't know if he's just in there as a mate. And they lost, obviously. Yeah, obviously everyone saw Farlongo do his hamstring in a really bad way. I think he's out for potentially up to 12 weeks. So that's just about his season done and dusted. And obviously Xavier Coates is missing, and Munster and Grant. So yeah, there's quite a few missing. Our old mate Steph, but obviously the Cowboys are missing plenty too. So there is a potential an upset here, and Melbourne aren't normally great away from home, but I think Melbourne are a little bit more trustworthy.
Quite a lot of ex-Tigers in this game.
Got towed up by the Dolphins, and that was without their Origin players too, I believe.
A lot of ex-Tigers in this game. Bateman, McIntyre, McKaylee. Can't really count Pappenhausen. Kane Bradley. Can you count Kane Bradley?
Yeah.
Obviously Sean Bloor. That's it. I guess every game these days is full of ex-Tigers, aren't they? We've all gone Roosters. We're all cowards.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if we just had a little bit more spark in the back line, I just don't know where we're going to get our points from, and I can see the Roosters getting some points, but I don't know, man. We need a win. We need a win, and we've got the forward pack to do it.
12.5
Yeah, I didn't go through their team list, but you're right, Rob. Their backline absolutely terrifies me. It's one of the better backlines in the comp, and it hasn't been too damaged by Origin selection. Obviously, what's his name? The young centre, Toya, has had a pretty good season, but I mean, they filled that gap pretty well for this game too. So yeah, their backline horrifies me if they're and their halves have played well when they've been a combination together. I'm pretty sure these two were the halves pairing on Anzac Day, if I'm not mistaken. So, and that was a really good game for the two of them. Tedesco looked $1 million that night as well, or that afternoon as well. So yeah, this Roosters team, while I'm agreeing with you that their forwards aren't as good as you'd think they would normally be. Obviously, mostly through Origin selection plus a couple of injuries, and just quietly, I want to say, I hope Victor Radley is able to progress through these concussion symptoms that he has fairly quickly, because it's very scary seeing a player get concussed so frequently in such concerning ways, and hopefully he's able to come back and play some footy. But if not, his career looks to be in a little bit of trouble. But I mean, yeah, the Origin selections in their front row is where most of the damage has been done. If we can target that and target the bench, they do have a couple of debutants as well in, I think it's Max McCarthy on the bench, and Tom
The starting wing might be a debutant too, Aaron.
What was that? Sorry?
The starting winger for the Roosters outside Nwanga-Nitawaze.
Yeah,
I think he
Tom
might
Rodwell.
be a
That's the other one who I was thinking is the debutant there too. So yeah, I mean, two debutants. There is a potential there to maybe target them. Obviously, one of them coming off the bench, one of them on the wing. So we'll have to see how that all goes. But yeah, the matchup of our right side, I think it would be, versus Nwanga Nitawaze is very concerning to me.
As and I've gone Manly. Rob has gone Rabbitohs. That's a bit of an underdog there. Rob, what's the thinking there?
The thinking there is not to be a hypocrite. So I told everyone that was prepared to listen on Sunday night that any other team would have beaten Manly last week at Four Pines Park. And I looked at the South team, and no disrespect to our team, that South team that's playing on Sunday is a better lineup than what we had last Friday night. So even though they're $3.50 or thereabout outsiders, I think South's are absolute specials to beat Manly this week.
That's a big
Okay.
call.
$3 there, the value. All right. Speaking of value, join us on Sunday afternoon at the Orange Grove. Thank you to our also value. I could have had a good segue there. Patreon.com/WestsLife. We're going to record our Patreon special there. The fellas can join us there. Thank you to everyone, including our Benji Marshall tier legends, Will Sinclair, Shane Cowart, Robert Rosenberg over there. I believe he was in Nashville. He's in a comment. He was in the comments before. He's over there road tripping across the USA, joining us. Rob Aaron, Chris Cal, Gussie Harris, and Brendo as well. Might see a couple of those faces at the Orange Grove on Sunday as well, hopefully. So please do join us there. Like I said, it might not go our way, but at least we'll have good company. And $7 schooners makes the pain go away. All right, and then Sunday night with Coach Adele as well, Roberto. So thank you for another good show. Again, apologies to Orange Grove for not being there tonight, as and I will hopefully hit the hyperbaric chamber and be right and rein for Sunday Arvo as well. But any parting words before we go say g'day to our Patreon legends and shoot the shit?
I just want to thank Adele for coming on tonight and giving us some of his time and adding to the show. And I really hope the boys can fire up this week. I know they'll be motivated. They've just got to believe in themselves, have a good game plan, and it can be done.
I did some work for Statsman tonight, and I kind of want to go through that.
Oh yeah, go. Sorry, let's show. Go. Throw it in.
Hey, at least you didn't forget the preview tonight, Josh. It's all right.
Yeah, no, it's actually much easier when I'm at home and I can kind of look at the computer as opposed to the camera. Anyway, go as.
So I've researched and calculated two different averages today, and tonight, and I want you guys to have a quick guess about which one do you think we have the lower number in. So is it average age of team or average games experience? Which one do you think we are lower in? Lower age or lower experience?
Then the Roosters.
Than the Roosters for the 17 players named.
I would say age. I would say age because a lot of the Roosters are probably guys that are New South Wales Cup kind of stalwarts.
I'll tell you what, both are very close.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we are lower in age on the simple fact that Tedesco and Daniel Tupou have played 10,000 games between them.
So yeah, okay. So
average
ages. Roosters 24.4, Tigers 24.3.
Wow,
that was close. And if I go to the 2 decimal points, it's 24.35 for the Roosters, which rounds up, and 24.29 for the Tigers, which also rounds up. So either way, that's close. As for average games experience, Tigers 57.9, Roosters 52.1, which surprised me considering we don't have any players with more than 200 games experience, whereas their number 1 and number 2, Tedesco and Tupou, both have more than 200. So it kind of threw me off a little bit, but then I got to thinking about it. We have quite a few in between the 150 or like the 130 to 180 mark. As for ages, they also have a couple that are over 30 but also more than us who are in that like 18, 19, 20 range, while we have a few that are between 26 and 29, and they don't have too many in that category. So it actually was really interesting to me looking at this. I did also include in that ages calculation the fact that by the time we play the game on Sunday, Alex Twal has his birthday tomorrow and Sione Fainu has his birthday on Friday. So they're ages that they'll be in a couple of days where the calculation's there.
All right. So you're telling me we're a chance, Has?
I mean, I thought it'd be interesting considering it's an Origin affected week. It's our only Origin.
Yeah,
affected
we don't
week.
have. It's not an excuse.
Just
We don't
how
have that
young
excuse.
we were.
Yeah, we don't
Just
have
how
the
young
excuse.
and inexperienced we were.
Good on you, Az. Good way to finish. Let's go say good day to our Patreon members, patreon.com/WestsLife. Please support the show. Like on your way out, and we'll see you guys Sunday at the Orange Grove.
Go the
As
Tigers.
always,
Go the Tigers.
Thanks for listening to West Tigers Life Podcast. What a great show. Love that Rob Bichara. Check out all their episodes and content at westtigers.com.au. What great content. Watch Coach's Report with Otto live by joining patreon.com/WestsLife. What a great deal. Join their Discord as well. Wow, fantastic. Please grab that subscribe button by the
all right. See you.